Hello and welcome to India at Cannes. It is a special broadcast that we are bringing to you from Cannes, the beautiful city on the French Riviera, which is synonymous with the best of global cinema and fashion. What you are seeing behind me are those famous 24 steps in the red carpet that leads to the Palais des Festivals, where most of the cinema in the 76th edition of the Cannes Film Festival is being showcased to all. I am going to bring to you a 360-degree view from the Indian side of the festival. India has signed co-production agreements with 16 countries and is in talks for 30 such more co-production agreements. These 16 countries are those which are very active film producing countries. At the India Pavilion, an interactive session was held on co-production agreements with global film commissions. A participant in that discussion was Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting in the Government of India, Dr. L. Murugan. Here are some excerpts.
So, our government is concerned about the co-production. For that, almost 16 countries are entered the treaties and the agreement. Also, almost here all countries are entered this agreement. So, I hope another countries are also, it is in the pipeline. So, our government, again I want to mention that our government is almost supporting to the industry. Our states are supporting, some states from Madhya Pradesh or some of states from Maharashtra. They are also supporting for the shoot in India. Because,
we have an incentive structure called the New Zealand Screen Production Grant, and this is a cash rebate structure. It's not a tax credit. And there are two strands to it. There's a 20% incentive, and that is for international production coming into New Zealand. They just need to spend a certain amount of money, and then they receive a 20% cash rebate following delivery. And on the co-production side and the domestic New Zealand side, we have a 40% incentive, which is a cash grant structure. It applies equally to film and to television. And the way it works is that it is effectively a cash grant that is paid out to the New Zealand producer that then converts to their equity in the film or the TV show. We have had one co-production so far with India called Beyond the Known World, and that production accessed a combination of our incentive structure, the 40% incentive, and it also accessed our equity as a film fund.
Before the pandemic, I think we had 4 or 5 Indian productions in Sweden, just coming for the locations, for the culture. Like you said, they're wanting something different, to talk about virgin locations. They can find things that they haven't seen before, and that has been important. But then I also found that there are quite a few stories that involve both Sweden and India that are perfect for co-productions, that I would like to find a way to promote to Indian producers and Swedish producers to actually produce, which would be fantastic.
We have a 30% incentive just if you come in as an inbound, not as a co-production. So that's 30% both big and little screens. And like Canada and like India, states stack on top of it. So you can get between 8 and 15% on top of that 30%. That's just as an inbound. Then obviously what the real goal though for the government would be, is because we're a cultural agency, would be to find those things that really work together, that is promoting and helping both creative sides. So we love inbounds, but that's the real goal, I think, for the government. We have a very large Indian diaspora living there. Obviously, there's a huge Indian diaspora around the world, so you can take that story elsewhere. So it's also very important to Australia, the government at the moment, that we tell stories that reflect Australia looking as she actually is. And Australia has a huge diverse population. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there to play on that.
75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow is a flagship initiative of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry of the Government of India. It nurtures young talent across various aspects of filmmaking. At the India Pavilion, an interactive session was organized on this particular initiative, ways to take it forward, efforts towards talent development from here on, as well as training of creative minds. Here are some excerpts.
In the entire film development, the talent is one of the most important components. So if you nurture the talents well, your outcomes of films will be definitely better. We wanted to utilize the platform of the festival, and we wanted to use this 75th year for starting a new thing in terms of talent development. So the first year we started all alone. I think the NFDC team did a fairly good job. We sort of, sought applications from all across the country, and we selected 75 creative minds, and we utilized this festival and the Film Bazaar platform to train them into various aspects of filmmaking, whichever they were pursuing. The journey started off because of an idea which our Honorable Minister gave, and then it also coincided with our 75th year. But I think it has to evolve, and it has also to multiply in times to come. So we'll think around that and build it further.
I think India has an amazing and deeply rooted tradition of storytelling. Bollywood has been kind of all by itself this massive and amazing center of creativity. I'm a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures, so it's very interesting to see our winning song that I think if they revealed the votes, Natu Natu would have won by an enormous amount. It was such an amazing and popular piece of creativity.
What I really find inspiring about initiatives like this, it's not just about working on a film, although of course that's a great thing to work on. It's also about making mistakes. And I think making mistakes and learning from them, and as the people in the clip also mentioned, like having that safe space to experiment with it, and the fun and joy about it, and collaborative effort, I think, looks fantastic. We also have a couple of programs where we incubate ideas together, we pitch them, we work on marketing and training sessions together, so we see if the idea possibly has potential internationally or even in your own local industry.
And it was actually very good to see it, so because I thought for everyone, you here in the audience and for us, so we know how films are made, but to see how the people came together and how the spirit of that thing came through, even through a video, I can imagine it was way more fun when you were on the spot, is very important. And also the thing that probably touches most and connects most with what we want to achieve at Berlinale Talents. We don't do a challenge, we don't do films while they're there. It's a gathering of emerging film professionals, 200 from all over the world in Berlin every year.
I think what's so great about this program is obviously there's educational aspect of skills training, but we work with a more collaborative approach. So I think initiatives like this are so brilliant, and I think what happens with this in terms of the collaboration across different cultures within India, different tribes within India, is going to be one to watch for the rest of the industry, which is becoming so much more cross-global, as we find different ways to work with each other.
I spoke to Carter Pilcher. He is the CEO and founder of Shots International, which is a key stakeholder in the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow initiative. I spoke to him on the promise that this initiative holds and its future as he sees it. Take a listen. Carter Pilcher, the founder and CEO of Shots International, world's leading short film entertainment company, is here with us in Cannes. He just participated in a panel discussion on 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow, an initiative which is very close to the heart of Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting in the Government of India, Anurag Singh Thakur. Let's talk to him about the initiative and how he sees that initiative progressing in future. Welcome to Doordarshan.
Thank you, Moomin. It's great to be here.
It's great to be with you here. Tell us, for starters, for the uninitiated, what is the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow and what has really transpired in the two sessions so far?
Well, 75 Creative Minds is a great idea. It was an idea of selecting 75 young emerging talents from across India, irrespective of their language or their background, and bringing them all together at Goa and getting them to kind of explode the industry, which, as you know, the film industry in India is very divided. There's a southern film industry and a northern film industry and a Hindi film industry. So there are big differences. And this idea was to bring them all together and start creating a national Indian film industry. So the first year they brought them all together. Second year we put together a film challenge that divided the 75 into 5 teams of 15 people each and turned them loose to each make a film. So 5 teams, 53 hours, they all made some amazing films, and we were very excited to be part of it this past year. It was something unexpected and very unusual.
So the students there, or the young filmmakers I should say, had a 53-hour challenge in front of them. In 53 hours, without sleeping many times, they would have had to produce a short film, and they did, and there was a winner as well. So what was the entire experience like for you? Was it an edge of the seat affair? How was it?
Very edge of the seat. We started out, the filmmakers, fantastic kids, young people. They're not kids, they're all in their 20s and 30s, but amazing. They had all kinds of energy. They wanted to see their own vision, and suddenly they realized that the guy that's on their team they don't like, they don't know, they've never worked with. It's all really hard. And the very beginning was full of exasperation. All kinds of problems. All they could see were the reasons they wouldn't win. And in 53 hours, what we saw is teams come together. They made some amazing pieces of film, told some really great stories, and I think, I really think, laid the groundwork for an Indian film industry that is something that's completely new to the world. It's going to be, not just the Mumbai film industry or the Bengali film industry, but it's going to be everybody, and it's really exciting.
So here in Cannes, the INB Ministry is trying to explore synergies on an international level for the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow. You've been invited here as well. So how did the session go, and what were the takeaways from it? How does the initiative stand to gain after the session that you've had?
We had a very interesting session today with Minister Kapoor. We were joined by Berlinale filmmakers. We were joined by the Netherlands Film Festival representative and someone from a UK film talent group. And they all had very interesting perspectives. Most interesting, I think, was Berlinale Film Talents. They talked about how they've brought together 200 to 500 young talents every year. They've kept them in a database. They promoted them throughout their careers. They've really built a new European film industry just out of the fact that they've all interacted together and been selected for the program. I think that for us, that was very challenging to hear, that you can not just encourage them, explode these new talents, expose them to each other, let them learn how to work together, but you can actually start laying the groundwork over a long period of time for a group of individuals who will work together throughout their careers.
So where do you see this going from here on? We've seen 2 editions already. Could there be a new look and feel going forward? Could the numbers increase? How do you see this evolving from here?
Well, I think that there are a lot of things to consider. My bet is that we will stick with a number that we can handle, probably 75 or so, but building more programs for the people that have been here before, because it's not really just 75 today. As of today, it's 150, and by IFFI-Goa in November, we'll be at 225 people who participated. That's a lot. And I think if we start building programs that mentor them, that bring them together over the course of their careers, that we start laying the groundwork for a very key component of film talent in India that will be unique and different, and really bring international investors and film companies. It'll give them the talent they need to come to India and to start making more movies there.
Also, towards the end, why should a young filmmaker look forward to being part of the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow? What does that budding filmmaker really stand to gain? What's been the experience from their perspective in the last 2 sessions?
Well, that's a great question. Why should a filmmaker who's been part of 75 Creative Minds, what do they have to gain? I think the first thing, and this is our job, is to make sure that it's a program that people internationally say, oh my gosh, that's on your resume. You are one of the 75 creative minds of 2022 or 2025 or 2027. Wow. We definitely want to look at you and consider you for work with us, because that's a mark of distinction. And the second thing we want is for filmmakers who've been part of this to know that their credentials were good, and so the people that other fellow graduates, alumni of the same program are good, will be talented, challenging, interesting people to work with. So I think it really, those things start bringing together the film industry and creating a core that will really lift the rest of the industry, bring it forward.
What was the role of Shots TV in screening the documentaries that were made and giving it the audience that it deserves?
So we were very excited to partner with the ministry. We not only launched the challenge, we helped produce the films, we made sure that we got some films. That was the exciting part. But then we took the films and released them on Shorts TV. We've released them globally. We also did a documentary about the films and how they were made. Both have had enormous and very strong reviews in all of our markets. We're in the United States, in Europe, in Latin America, and India. And 9 channels, and all 9 have released the film in Italian and Spanish and English. So it's given these filmmakers enormous exposure globally.
Thank you so much, Carter Pilcher, for speaking to us. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Moomin.
So that was a conversation with Carter Pilcher, the CEO and founder of Shots International, who is a very important stakeholder in the 75 Creative Minds of Tomorrow initiative of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry of the Government of India. With cameraman Ilangovan, this is Munmun Bhattacharya from Cannes for DD India. I spoke to renowned Indian actor Khushbu Sundar on India's presence in the 76th edition of the Cannes Film Festival and its bid to recognize women in cinema. This is what she had to say. We have with us here in Cannes Khushbu Sundar, eminent Indian producer and actor. She participated in the inaugural ceremony of the India Pavilion at the 76th edition of the Cannes Film Festival. Welcome Khushbu ji to Doordarshan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on India's standing currently globally as far as the world of cinema is concerned?
I think India is at the right place, and we have a heart at the right place when it comes to art and creativity and culture. What I spoke even at the inaugural, I said that today, world over, globally, people are looking at Indian cinema, Indian art. And when you talk about that, it's not only about looking back at us in awe, but it's also about accepting and respecting. Whichever part of the world you go in, people are like, oh, we love Indian cinema. And I think that is what is required, and that is what is needed, because Indian cinema has been the biggest cinema industry of the world, and even economically, I think it contributes much beyond than all the cinema put together. And this kind of acceptance, this kind of respect was long due. And today when you see at the Indian Pavilion how people have been flocking, and they want to hear what we have to say, what we have to give it out to them, I think we have arrived. And that is the sense of pride which fills me as an Indian.
As an actor, what do you think about having more co-productions with various countries? Today the minister announced that 16 co-production arrangements have been signed by India with various countries.
I think there was a time when people had a different perception about India. But with our Honorable Prime Minister at the helm, I think that has changed drastically. People are looking back at India and saying that this is one nation which is there to build the globe and take it forward in the right direction. Never before we have seen a leader who was respected by world over people. And even now when you take the survey, how people have been saying that, okay, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been right at the top as the most loved leader. Having said that, it's also to be seen that how the government of India has been taking pains in bringing people from different parts of the country together on different platforms, leaving aside any kind of a political diversity, but saying that art does not have any barriers, so we need to bring them together. And how Information Broadcasting Ministry has been reaching out to the Indian film industry, trying their level best and making sure that the producers, not only from India, but globally when they come from different parts of the international producers, they come to India, well can be supported, and that is why you see 35% of incentive what we have given them. It's with the, and apart from that, it is also the incentives they have, and they have a single window frame now. They don't have to go to different places. You have a single window for permission and everything, and I think that is what was needed. Earlier people would say, yeah, you come to India, you have to go to 10 places to get a permission to shoot, but that's not the case now. There's a single window. Everything is at your fingertip. You know, we have grown so much, and I think this is what takes India forward. And I definitely want people to come forward, because the kind of locations what we have in India, you will hardly find it anywhere in the world. You talk about snow-capped mountains, you talk about forest, you talk about rivers, you talk about city, you talk about roads, you talk about infrastructure, you name it. You know, and we have everything, including our tradition, which is people from different parts of the world, they love the tradition what we have, and we are rich. We are traditionally so rich. We have a rich culture, we have a rich heritage, so why not take it forward? So it's amazing to see how people have been coming forward and reaching out to India.
In this edition of the Cannes Film Festival, women are being honored. How significant to your mind has been the role of women in cinema in India and around the world, and is there a need to recognize that, to further promote that?
Every time a woman achieves, you say, oh, you have broken a glass ceiling. I think we need to stop at that. I mean, why is that? We always, you know, we say we want a gender equality. We want to say that there are no more heroes and heroines. It has to be heroes and sheroes, whether it is in cinema or it is anywhere in a personal life, any platform for that matter. You have women who have been, you know, put in a squad in the most difficult positions in the army and the navy forces, armed forces. You see women right at the top globally, right from the time of Meena Kumari, Nargis, Madhubala. We have spoken about them, we have seen them. And today when we see people like right from Priyanka Chopra or Deepika Padukone or Anushka Sharma or even Alia Bhatt or Sara Ali Khan, who's debuting at Cannes, I think women power has always been there. We have just been trying to say that we want to support them, but in a very silently, unknowingly, we have been trying to suppress them. We just need to let them free. We need to allow them to fly and spread their wings and fly. And it's amazing to see how the women from Indian cinema industry, they have been making a mark, whether it is branding, international branding we have never seen before, whether it is walking the red carpet of Cannes or Oscars or presenting an award at Oscars. I mean, we have done it all. And I think this is the right time when we talk about women empowerment. I think this is the best time. And I really would like to salute these girls who have made such a huge difference with their determination and their passion for the work they have.
What is the kind of future for Indian cinema and India's participation in international film festivals, or the participation of other countries in Indian film festivals, that you would like to see?
You know, we make films for the masses, and you hardly find those kind of films being celebrated or being awarded at these festivals. So I want to break that monotony where you say that, okay, you have festivals and it's only about very grim, real, and a cinema which sets you thinking. I think with Naate Naate winning the Oscar, I think that's going to change, because music and dance is something part of our life. We all are, we are born with it. It's within us. I mean, in India, everyone knows that you sleep, your mother sings a lullaby and she puts you to sleep. Lori suna ke aapko sulaegi. And at every given point, there's a song. For every emotion, there's a song. There's a love, you have a song. There's a heartbreak, you have a song. You are upset, there's a song. You are high, there's a song. So I think it's imbibed within us. It's within us, music. I want more commercial cinemas to be appreciated, because the amount of hard work which goes into making a commercial cinema is equal or probably a little more than what goes into making a very hard-hitting core, I would say, very award festival films, festival kind of films. So I think we should change that. That needs to be brought in, and we need to appreciate the technicians, the actors who have put in so much of hard work, and appreciate that also.
Thank you so much, Khushbu ji, for speaking to us on Doordarshan. That's it then in this edition of India at Cannes. We'll come to you tomorrow, same time, with the latest updates on India's participation in the 76th edition of the Cannes Film Festival. Until then, goodbye. Thanks for watching.